Hey everyone! Imagine a world where the oceans and rivers thrive, where fish are raised ethically and sustainably, and where businesses thrive without harming the environment. Sounds perfect, right? Well, today, we're diving deep into one of the most pressing topics in modern aquaculture: sustainability. In a world where climate change, overfishing, and pollution are major threats to our oceans, aquaculture plays a vital role in ensuring we have sustainable food sources. But what does sustainability actually mean for aquaculture? And how can businesses develop in ways that protect the environment, support local communities, and thrive ethically? Sustainability isn't just a buzzword, it's a goal. A critical and ongoing effort to balance environmental protection with economic success. But achieving sustainability in aquaculture isn't something that happens overnight. It's a complex process that requires looking at the ecosystem as a whole, identifying what's not working, and finding ways to improve. Let's kick things off by looking at what sustainability actually means. You've probably heard the term sustainability tossed around everywhere, but have you ever stopped to think about its true meaning, especially when it comes to aquaculture? Sustainability is defined in many ways, but one of the most influential definitions comes from the 1987 Brundtland Report development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. It sounds simple, but honestly it's a huge responsibility to get it right. Different organizations and experts have various definitions for sustainability. Some emphasize the balance between economic growth and environmental health. Others focus on social equity, making sure that future generations have access to resources, food, and healthy ecosystems. The key here, it's not just about survival, it's about thriving in a way that future generations will benefit. In aquaculture, we are working to meet the growing demand for fish while making sure that farming practices do not degrade the environment. But how do we know if we're truly being sustainable? This is where frameworks and definitions come into play. To measure sustainability, experts have developed frameworks that help businesses assess their environmental, social, and economic impacts. One of the most popular is the Global Reporting Initiative, or GRI, which helps organizations report on sustainability in a standardized way. By focusing on key aspects like environmental performance, resource use, labor practices, and community impact, these frameworks allow aquaculture businesses to assess how well they're doing and identify areas for improvement. But sustainability is a journey, not a destination. This is where scoping comes in, the process of identifying the most important sustainability issues for a business and taking action accordingly. It's about taking responsibility for both the direct and indirect impacts of your business on the environment and society. Let's look at a real-world example. So this is a farm in Norway, which is honestly a global leader in sustainable aquaculture. Through innovative practices like recirculating aquaculture systems, or RAS, and integrated multi-trophic aquaculture known as IMTA, this farm has drastically reduced its environmental footprint. By using RAS, they filter and reuse water, which really reduces water consumption and limits waste. And with IMTA, they cultivate multiple species at once, using the waste from one species to feed another, basically creating a closed-loop system that maximizes efficiency. Beyond technology, sustainability in aquaculture requires ethical business practices. From improving labor conditions to making sure that local communities benefit, this farm really exemplifies how a business can be profitable while promoting a positive impact on both the environment and society. Now, if you're running or thinking about starting an aquaculture business, what do you need to succeed in sustainability? Well, first, it's all about innovation. Investing in technologies that reduce environmental harm, whether it's through water recycling, energy efficiency, or reducing waste. Second, it's essential to develop ethical practices, ensuring fair wages for workers, supporting local communities, and operating transparently. That means adopting a framework to measure your impact and being honest about where you stand. And let's not forget collaboration. Working with environmental groups, governments, and other businesses to develop best practices for sustainability. It's a collective effort. As the world's population grows, the demand for sustainable fish farming will continue to rise. Aquaculture has the potential to feed millions of people, but only if it operates within the boundaries of sustainability. We are at a critical point where business innovation meets environmental responsibility. Remember, sustainability in aquaculture is not a choice, it's the future. And with every step we take today, we're paving the way for a healthier planet tomorrow. So, what does sustainability look like in aquaculture? Well, it's about balance. It's about taking care of the environment, supporting local communities, and making sure that the fish we raise are healthy, ethical, and future-proof. If you're as passionate about sustainability as we are, hit that subscribe button, share this video, and, drop your thoughts in the comments. Together, we can make a difference. Stay curious, stay inspired, and keep pushing for positive change in aquaculture.